Now, research has shown that family support and parent education programs are the best ways to ensure that families are strong, that they're healthy, and ready to play the role of their children's first and most important teachers. That's why we're so excited to have Dr. Dorian Traub with us here today to talk about innovations in home visiting. Dorian is an associate professor in the School of Social Work at USC. She developed Parents as Teachers at USC Telehealth, the first partnership of its kind between a national home visitation model and a university-based telehealth clinic. She established the first virtual home visitation program, offering an entire home visitation model with fidelity via video conferencing technology. In 3 years, the program has been awarded its share of accolades and has offered over 1,000 home visits and trained 25 home visitors in virtual service delivery strategies. I won't steal your thunder, Dorian, but let's just say that the program's reach has grown exponentially in the last 4 weeks. Most importantly, perhaps, is the efficacy research that she's produced that is truly model agnostic. Her research agenda has been funded by the National Institutes of Health, the Parsons Foundation, and the Overdeck Foundation, and focuses on the use of technology solutions to provide early childhood health education and parent support services. So thank you so much for being here today, Dorian.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
So Dorian, while other folks on this panel have done what I would say is a hard stop on business as usual and really pivoted their focus to be able to support children and families during this time, your story is a little different. It's as if all of the work that you've been doing for the last few years has prepared you to step up in this moment. So can you talk a little bit about what you were doing pre-COVID-19 and what's happening with your work now?
Absolutely, my pleasure. So prior to COVID-19, I was directing Parents as Teachers at USC Telehealth, which was a collaboration with the Parents as Teachers National Center, which is a large-scale home visitation program that operates both in the US but also internationally. And they partnered with us at USC to deliver that entire intervention, from training to service delivery to supervision to family group meetings, using live interactive video conferencing technology. And at that time, we were the only program in the country offering any kind of virtual home visitation for an entire model. There were some other models out there doing components of their home visitation program, but we were delivering everything virtually. And one of the reasons that we were the only group that was doing that is because there were restrictions in both federal, state, and regional funding around home visitation that prohibited it from being delivered on telehealth platforms. It just simply was not allowed. So we were spending the last 5 years really thinking about workforce development, about best practices in service delivery, really trying to get folks to understand that while this is a very viable and feasible option for families, it's not a one-for-one transfer that somebody can just turn on their video camera and deliver a home visitation this way. And so that's where we had been working, and we had philanthropically fundraised to deliver those services in the absence of any kind of federal or state response that would fund it. And then COVID-19 happened, and it required a pivot in the entire way that home visitation is delivered nationwide due to safer at home orders and social distancing orders. And so as an example, we were able to take that work and make it the platform for a national response to virtual home visitation. So prior to COVID-19, over the 3 years that we were operating our Parents as Teachers at USC Telehealth program, we delivered 1,000 personal or home visits to families. So that's over 3 years, we delivered 1,000. In the first month after the safer at home orders went into place, we delivered, Parents as Teachers, affiliates delivered over 12,000 personal visits. So 1,000 in 3 years to 12,000 in 4 weeks. And that number has just grown exponentially since then.
That is just so amazing and so impressive that you were able to scale that quickly and get this much needed service out to families. It's extraordinary.
Well, thank you. We're really excited because it was something completely unpredictable, but we were grateful that we had done all the groundwork to make it feasible in the market. Another key aspect is that this work was then picked up as part of a rapid response in virtual home visitation that had a partnership with the National Alliance for Home Visitation Models and with the Institute for the Advancement of Family Support Professionals. So there was a built-in mechanism there to support the field in moving to virtual service delivery.
That kind of scaling to be able to maintain the validity and effectiveness you have to have some challenges there. So how were you able to do that so successfully?
I think one of the key aspects of our success was the fact that we had partnered with a national model to deliver the home visitation services. And so they themselves were so well positioned in the field that to introduce an innovation on service delivery made it a lot more feasible to scale quickly. Had we been small and regional, it would have been much harder, but there were already networks in place because of parents as teachers' role in the field of home visitation that made it possible for us to then enter and offer some advice and guidance around how you can do this virtually.
That's just incredible. I'm just so impressed with with those numbers and what you've been able to do in such a short period of time. So how can folks listening today support your work? I mean, obviously we want this to continue. You know, what can the community do to support you?
Sure. So currently, as I mentioned, we're doing a partnership around the rapid response to virtual home visitation, and we're offering weekly training and webinars and question and answer sessions and technical support. But underlying all of this is an excellent opportunity to advance the entire field of home visitation around some efficacy and effectiveness research related to the specific virtual response. We are running the risk that once the safer at home orders and the social distancing orders are lifted, that the home visitation industry will revert back to an on-ground model. And while there are advantages to an on-ground model, I think the best thing that we can offer families are options. Yeah. And so we need evidence that those options are effective for families. So that's the first thing, is that we would love to partner with organizations to look at some of the effectiveness around virtual home visitation. The other thing that is embedded in this work is that it's applicable and transferable across other pediatric serving pediatric serving sectors. So early childhood education, pediatric telehealth, are just two to name the many. And I think one of the challenges that families of young children experience is that they have to interact with so many systems, and each system has its own method for doing things, especially right now when everything is virtual. And so we would also love to fundraise around some long-term digital solutions in early childhood that are cross-sector and cutting-edge innovative, so that we can make sure that families with young children have multiple opportunities to support their child's health and development, and that their key focus is on their child and not having to navigate how to access any of these options.
I love it. I love the lofty goal. So to those in attendance today, you'll see a poll pop up on your screen to connect with Dorian. You know, remember that the primary function of these events is to facilitate connections between folks doing meaningful work in service of young children and families like Dorian, and connect her with all of you. So if you think you can help her with her partnership goals, the research goals, if you have another idea. If you are on board, as I'm sure many folks listening today are on board with the lofty goal of bringing this work together to really look at early childhood technical solutions, across the board, please do reach out to learn more. So thank you so much, Dorian.
Thank you.